monitor, proctor, whatever, she's the cop in the room. At the end of the session, you'll be able to see Beth, and she will get you your dot for the all-important prizes at the end of the day today. And you must be present to win. I think that's enough disclaimers. Oh, there's one more coming. So again, my name is Rusty Ryan. I'm an analytics technical professional with focus on the enterprise content management suite of products. I came over to IBM from the FileNet acquisition in 2006. And prior to that, I worked for FileNet for quite a long time. So I've been doing enterprise content management in Chicago, Wisconsin, Indiana for quite some time. This is the other disclaimer that you're going to hear. This basically says that you can't hold IBM responsible for anything I'm about to say. So these are all my opinions as far as products and things like that. I always like this slide. So the goal today is to give you a high-level overview of the ECM suite of products and some of the use cases that our clients use today. So you all know that information is composed of two things: structured data and unstructured content. In most organizations, that structured data only accounts for about 20% of the information in an organization. That other 80% is the unstructured content. And you see a bunch of different types of unstructured content here on the screen. So anything from what you would think of would be office documents, things like emails, videos, voice, all of that. Basically, if it can't be managed in a database or a line of business application, it's pretty much considered unstructured content. The challenge to organizations is to be able to get control of that, leverage it, and manage it so that you can actually take business benefit out of that unstructured content. And that's what our ECM platform basically does. It gives you the tools to gain control of that content and use it in your business for business advantage. And of course, IBM is the clear market leader in ECM, so this is the most recent Gartner Magic Quadrant, and you notice we're in the top right, which means that we have a good vision and we can actually execute on that vision. And so we've been doing this. We've been in the top right of the Magic Quadrant for ECM for as long as FileNet's been acquired by IBM, plus probably 5 years during the IBM round. So the IBM ECM suite of products is a consistent leader in the industry, as depicted by those guys in the industry, as I like to call them. And the goal of our enterprise content management solution is to allow you to gain control and find that content anywhere within your business context. Share it with people both inside and outside of the organization. So more and more organizations are looking to share that information they have with their customers, their clients, their policyholders. You typically probably access content online, statements, bills. I look at all my bills online. Most of those bills are being managed by an enterprise content management solution, and most of those are IBM ECM suites. We want to provide access to that information, but also do it in a secured manner. So when I go online to look at my credit card statement, my phone statement, it's mine, it's not yours. Simple concept, but pretty complex to actually implement. And then allow you to govern that information as well. So more and more today, organizations are realizing that the cost of storage, the cost of maintaining this information is on not a linear progression, but like a logarithmic projection as far as cost goes. We provide the tools that allow you to gain control of that, understand it, put retention and disposition around that content, and dispose of that content when you can, thereby reducing the overall storage in the organization and the associated cost. And then do it in a secured manner. So we provide repository services that allow you to secure that content. So again, it's not going to get caught in a data breach, or it's going to be secured for your organization. So we're going to talk today about two fundamental pieces of our ECM suite. At the bottom 3 blocks you see, that's our foundational, or the platform, which really you can think of it as the ECM repository. And it gives you the ability to do all that content management things that you would expect, as well as then take that content and activate it in a business process through a case management solution, so that when you get a new application for a mortgage, a loan, an account, just the simple receipt of that document can trigger a case that will allow you to go through a workflow process automatically. And then again, the whole governance suite of products that allows you to understand and control the content that you have in your repositories so that you can then, again, defensively dispose of that information in a timely fashion. And probably defensible disposal is probably one of the hottest, best ROI type of solution you can look at, because it allows you to manage your storage cost inside the organization, manage things like your legal cost, your retention cost. It's a very cost-benefit based solution. And of course, from a content point of view, our ECM suite can handle just about any digital content that exists. So if you can get it into a blah, blah, blah .xxx format on a hard drive, we can give you the tools to ingest it, store it, index it, view it, full text index it, manage it, dispose of it, put it into a workflow and use it in your business case. All of that is again, foundational to our platform. And also recently, we just extended the ability to do rich video capability through one of our business partners. So we can treat video just like it's a document. So we can go in and do full text indexing of the video stream and give you the ability to go look at find the instance where I say the word contract or McDonald's or coffee inside of a video stream. So we're going to talk about some of the most customary use cases that our customers have, and these are some of them we're going to touch on. They go from the simple to the complex, but it really revolves around identifying a business use case and then getting a financial benefit out of that use case. You know, we can put a repository out there and you can just treat it like an electronic, landfill if you'd like, but it really doesn't provide, again, a good cost benefit to your organization unless you can wrap it around a business solution and solve that problem both, from a business point of view as well as a financial point of view. The bread and butter of enterprise content management is document management. You would think that. Being able to do the things such as what I call library services, check in a document, check out a document, do version control, secure that content so that only the HR group can gain access to certain documents, and be able to then use a folder structure if you'd like, do full text indexing and search capabilities on the content, and then provide that up in a user interface that is consistent across all channels. So as we'll talk a little bit later about Content Navigator, but we provide a single user experience for solutions that are either browser-based, web-based, desktop-based, as well as mobile. So the same solution works across all platforms. And we can take our content solution and go from the simple, I'm just checking in a Word doc, or I'm just taking a file off my file share and storing it in the repository, putting it out on the cloud and syncing it with my desktop, to the very, very complex. So within the content platform, we have the ability to do life cycles, states, stages, promote and demote amongst those life cycle states, do multi-line version control, so I can do a version 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, move it to review as a 2.0 release, and manage that entire process through the repository. And we also have a feature called a compound document architecture, which allows you to get into very detailed technical publications. So one of the things, the IBM Info Centers, does anybody go online to look at those about your product documentation? All of the info centers are managed by the IBM ECM suite of products. So we actually do eat our own dog food within IBM in some cases. And then for very, very technical publications, we support the Darwin Information Typing Architecture. It's called DITA, and it's specialized into deep technical publications. And then we provide integration with tools like Quark and Arbortext to actually use the DITA processing to generate very complex technical documents. It's kind of a small niche of what happens, but it's very technically oriented for technical publications. If our out-of-the-box user interface isn't enough, we provide a full set of APIs so that you can incorporate content management functionality into your line of business application. We provide Java, .NET, and web services. And again, our API sets are fully published, they're documented, We provide both the user experience or the UI runtime version capabilities, as well as full administrative capabilities at the API level. So if you don't like the way our admin tool looks, you can go build your own. Who cares about the 200 man years of development we put into it? If you want to build your own, you can do it if you'd like. And then we also support the Content Management Interoperability Standard, CMIS, which allows us to integrate disparate, quote, non-IBM ECM repositories like SharePoint or other competing products through a single pane of glass. So through our Content Navigator interface, we can link to SharePoint libraries, include them in full text search capabilities with a FileNet or a CM8 or a CMOD repository, and consolidate all the search results in a single pane of glass at the desktop. And we can go on, there's the details within our API. We provide sample source code. We actually provide the source code to our UI framework so that you can integrate it very easily. And we provide sample code on our website. Another use case that is becoming really popular with large organizations is the concept of consolidating your ECM repositories into a single one. So the goal that we hear from a lot of our customers is simplify. I want to simplify the number of file shares that I have, simplify the number of repositories, simplify the number of vendors. One of my customers says, I like to do business with one or fewer vendors. So through ECM consolidation, we actually have content federation services built into our repository that allows you to go out and grab the metadata from multiple repositories. It could be a company taking, say, 3 instances of FileNet and 1 instance of CM8 and consolidating them into a single repository. And our federation strategy allows you to consolidate the metadata and gain advantage of all of the capabilities of our platform. And then over time, you can rework maybe some custom applications, and then at some point, actually migrate the objects, the content, from the old repository into the new instance of our repository, so that you can then go out and decommission the older repositories, the one that might need upgrading or the one that are just dead in the water. So this consolidation approach makes it simple and easy to consolidate your repositories. And at the end of the day, it saves time and it saves money, because now instead of having 6 repositories out there, I only have 1 system of record. The other use case that's really prevalent is getting rid of your shared drives. So shared drives to me are pretty much like digital landfill. I've got an X drive, a W drive, is whatever your drive might be. And over the course of time, I just drop stuff out there. I might have 12 copies of this PowerPoint presentation if I wasn't using an ECM system, or whatever, across multiple sources. And they're notoriously hard to find content. There's no advanced metadata other than dates and ownership. And they just become a burden on organizations. By taking that information and moving it into a repository, not only can you secure it, but you can enrich the metadata, so I can search by more than just the last access date. I can search by the contract number, the customer number, things like that, as well as, again, use full text indexing to gain additional information out of that document or set of documents. So I can go out and search for the word contract within 3 that has a proximity of 3 words to the word fraud, and give you the ability to search deeper and deeper into the content. Secure it. We can actually put a stub in the file system so that users, over the course of time, get used to going to the same file share, clicking on that document, and it will link them to the repository behind the scenes. People using Cognos today? A lot of reports, a lot of volume. We've got a connector between Cognos and our ECM repository, so that you can use the ECM repository as a Cognos archive for your reports. And again, take advantage of the power, I call it the power of the ECM platform. So once we put content in the platform, all of the power of that platform becomes available to that content. So we can, again, search it, we can lock it down, we can put it under retention and disposition. So I've got all of these Cognos BI reports that are being archived out there. They can be declared as a record and go through a standard disposition cycle so that you don't really, so you can start disposing of your reports in a timely fashion rather than going back and having to manage everything through Cognos. And it really helps speed up the performance and improve the performance of your Cognos reporting system. From a deployment point of view, so to go in and deal with enterprise content management in a Fortune 100, 500 organization, we need to be scalable. We need to be able to scale both horizontally, vertically, and globally. And we do all of that. So we have clients that are scanning over 1 million pages a day, ingesting 3 to 4 million emails per day from a discovery point of view. So the architecture behind our platform is scalable from 5 users to 500,000 users and associated volumes, all with the same software, all with the same architecture. We can start small, grow large, and in those countries that have this rule that says information created in my country has to stay in my country, Canada is like that. There's some European communities that will not allow content or metadata to leave. We can basically architect a system that will allow us to put content stores and metadata stores in those countries and secure them appropriately. So making the European Union and the Canadians happy. And we have customers doing this today. So we have customers that typically take advantage of low-cost labor overseas. So they're scanning 1 million pages a day. I've got a customer that's scanning 500,000 invoices a day. They ship them overseas for all of the manual labor, and then they're linked up into an AP system and paid automatically. So again, be able to take advantage of inexpensive labor wherever it happens to exist. At some point in time, the Indian labor market's going to get a little more expensive, and we're going to move somewhere else. I don't know where that somewhere else is, but it would be nice to know where that is now. And then from a storage point of view, a lot of organizations need to have worm storage or protected storage. So once you write it once onto that disk, it's as if you're writing it to an optical or permanent storage. We've always supported worm storage from multiple vendors. And we just recently announced the ability to support SoftLayer, which is an IBM cloud-based solution for storage. So we can actually take SoftLayer, put it on-prem for a hybrid solution, and then migrate that storage to the cloud if necessary. And then the other big thing is as organizations start embracing the ECM concept, unstructured content becomes more and more critical to the organization. So not being able to get to my statements is going to force me to call tech support, or going to force me to call somebody, and maybe they might lose me as a client. So uptime becomes more and more important, and as organizations strive for 4 to 5 nines of uptime, the ability to drop a system to do an upgrade just doesn't happen any longer. So our solution supports a rolling upgrade strategy. So if I have a cluster of servers that are deployed, I can upgrade, I can drop one server from the cluster, upgrade it, and bring it back onto the cluster at some other time. What this also allows you to do is save that dreaded Friday at 5 p.m. to Monday at 6 a.m. window that typical upgrades happen. Pretty much goes away. So you're saving time, cost. Your tech employees are happy because now they don't have to work, 60 hours in 3 days to do the upgrade. And then you don't have to recover if something goes wrong in the middle of it. So this is a relatively newer feature of our solution, the ability to do rolling upgrades. That's pretty much it on the platform side. So we've talked a little bit about all the platform services and use cases that are available to you. Now we're going to move into the user experience. Content Navigator is a single user application, user experience across all ECM products that give you a single unified access method to those repositories. I don't know if you've worked with FileNet or IBM ECM products in the past, but from a FileNet point of view, we've always had a whole bunch of different kind of ugly user interfaces. And on the IBM side, pretty similar. So if you've used IBM CM8, there's some user interfaces. There's multiple user interfaces on both product sets. What we've done is we've consolidated everything to a single user interface called Content Navigator. So it gives us unified access to all of the IBM ECM repositories as well as any CMIS compatible repository. It allows us to, again, do unified searching across all those platforms. We basically do the search, consolidate the results inside of the UI, and then allow you to click on a piece of content, and we go get it from whatever repository it happens to be in. We also use Content Navigator, the user experience of Content Navigator, across all of our mobile devices. So the same user interface that I look at from a desktop or a browser, I can basically do on an iPad, iPhone, or Android device as well. So again, we give complete portability of our application across all channels, as well as all of our ECM products have adopted the Content Navigator user interface. We've also taken that Content Navigator UI and have embedded it inside of an integration with the Microsoft Office suite of products. So again, if you are a user that lives within the Office suite of products, we provide the exact same look, feel, and user experience within Microsoft Office as you would coming from a desktop or browser or a mobile device. This is very, from an application onboarding point of view, this is very positive, very powerful. Because all I have to do is show somebody how to use the IBM ECM ribbon bar, which is a click and a click, to get access to the repository, to work with my content, to do check-in, check-out capabilities, to create new documents, to search for content within my ECM repository directly from the Office suite of products. I think from a mobile point of view, all of our solutions, ECM solutions that use Content Navigator, are mobile enabled. So again, we have the ability to add content, review content, search for content, and view content on your mobile device. And these are all, you go to the App Store, you can download IBM Content Navigator, configure it, and if you have an ECM repository out there, you're doing ECM in 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're like me and you have sausage fingers and it's hard to type some of the things in. And we have the ability to do sync and share, but we do sync and share. We call this kind of like the box beater. So if you've used box.com, our sync and share goes beyond what Box offers, and that you're actually syncing and sharing with a secured repository. So again, all of the rules and enforcement of security that we apply at the repository level, we do through the sync and share. So whenever I come in through Content Navigator from whatever device, I'll have to authenticate with my platform, and that the sync and share capability ensures that you're only looking at your content, whether it's online or offline from a syncing point of view. And we have basically portlets, or the ability to include Content Navigator type integrations into sites such as SharePoint. So we have a set of SharePoint portlets that you can deploy inside of SharePoint, and it gives you the look and feel. You can access Content Navigator or the repository through a look and feel of a SharePoint UI. And it can actually get kind of confusing because the ECM portlets look exactly like SharePoint web parts. So we can blend, so we can come after it from, if organizations use SharePoint as their primary source, we can blend the ECM look and feel directly into SharePoint. Or on the back end, if we're using Content Navigator as the user interface, we can then use the CMIS interface into SharePoint and give you the same look and feel regardless of what your starting point happens to be. Again, just more options, more flexibility for our clients so that they don't have to change the way they're doing work today to embrace the ECM technology. Viewing becomes pretty important. So I have all of this content out there, and we need to be able to view it. So we include IBM's Deja View One virtual viewer as part of a Content Navigator, and that's an HTML5 viewer that gives you full fidelity capabilities to support 175 file formats. And for image type formats, actually for most formats, we allow you to annotate those documents, and then we store those annotations in the repository, secured as a layer on top of the content. This is important. It's HTML5, which means it's not a Java applet. There's no download. There's no maintenance of the Java applet on desktop, so you don't need a JVM. It's a pure HTML5 implementation. One of the nice features of Content Navigator is the ability to create and deploy applications for specific business units or groups through configuration versus customization. So we have the ability to go out and create what we call desktops, which are basically applications that can be deployed. So somebody with a little bit of knowledge can go out and determine what repositories do I want to hit, how do I want it to look, what are my searches going to look like. I can create a set of saved and templated searches and share those across the application, and create customized or configurable solutions for end users very quickly, where in prior versions of solutions you may have to do some customization or application development. This is a list of the IBM solutions that have embraced the Content Navigator user interface. So you can see all of the ECM pieces. Watson is using it. Some InfoSphere components are using it. All of our business partners are migrating their solutions to a Content Navigator front end. So Content Navigator is the pervasive and present and future user interface for all ECM products. A lot of the analytics tools or solutions are also starting to embrace the Content Navigator UI. So I'm going to end with just a couple of use cases, and we'll get you probably, if you don't have questions, we'll get you out of here a few minutes early. So this is a Fortune 500 company that was trying to replace doing an ECM replacement of a competing system. And we were able to come in and show them through our complete ECM suite that we were a lower cost, easier to deploy solution. We used a business partner to come in and do this, and they were able to not only gain a huge positive ROI, but also get the customer to use our case management tools as well. So we were able to take their document-centric workflows and business cases and case solutions and migrate those off to the Filenet solution. And then Apache Energy actually used a platform consolidation strategy to consolidate a number of their existing ECM repositories into a single Filenet repository. And they implemented our information lifecycle governance strategy. So they were able to do records retention, records management, and e-discovery all within the content platform. And that's all I have. Are there any questions about anything around the ECM suite, the platform? Well, okay, well, thank you very much. Again, if you need your sticker, you can go back to Beth in the back, and she'll make sure you can get qualified for the grand prizes that are coming up later this evening.